this Ancient Future conceptually started about the same time as 7 Year Itch. So it's weird because I feel like I'm always working on music and an album conceptually. Time is like I'm always kind of trying to create a concept of what songs to place where and how to go about it. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, you the movement, some of the fun.
Yeah, me here,
Where it gets?
He's wasting it.
Nothing.
But I do like writing in the country a lot, like where I'm from. There's this feeling, especially for Ancient Future, I wanted to go back to where I grew up. Be in the same bedroom I was when I was 4 years old. And when I was sitting dreaming to be a musician, and then to go back there having accomplished that to an extent, and then remember what was going through my mind as a little baby and as a little youth. And so for this album I really wanted to kind of go back there. Tell me. I wanted to be even a little more personal. There's a sound that I wanted to accomplish, and in terms of roots reggae, and I feel like I've done that with this record to kind of get it out of my system. But for this album, the thought process was just really just getting a certain era out of my system, my favorite era of music. I really wanted to really capture that fully on this album for the whole way through.
Yeah, man.
And not just like 3 songs and then I do something contemporary. Like everything on it is fresh and contemporary, I guess, but it has its roots in the 80s music. Spirit of Jacob, the spirit of Hugh, spirit of Macintosh, that spirit never move. The spirit of Walter, yeah, that spirit fought. You have the spirit of Walter, oh, they will assault you. Sit and pick apart, you know the biggest talk. They call them freedom of speech, me a freedom of thought. 7 Year Itch drop, not even cause a clock. I guess, but me still could have feel. In terms of the name, it wasn't that long, because it had a different name. In terms of the idea, as I said, like about the same time I started to do my first album. So even when the second album was on the way, you know, I kind of still had it in the back of my mind. Kingston Be Wise was supposed to be an Ancient Future, and I switched it to 8 Year Affair. So they've been in my head for about 3, 4 years.
All of the fun where she take out of the chase. Want make a run but me not in the race then. But such is the case when.
Yes, making an album affects my social life it has caused many problems before, you know what I mean? Like I remember I had a girlfriend started to about the time I was finishing my first album. And I remember looking back on it, like I really didn't give her any time and everything was like super stressed because it was my first album. So it would be a normal Friday night and she would just want to go out, go dance or something, and like I would be like, even if I wasn't in studio, I just had to keep my mind so focused. So it's a really... For me, it's really a time that I don't get to spend a lot of time with people, and then I like to record in private. It's just usually me and the producer. Maybe sometimes there's 1 or 2 other people, but it kind of affects that I don't get to go out. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a noise for timing, especially when it gets down to the last part. I get cranky sometimes still, you know what I mean? I get cranky.
Man, she still never respond. Understand, catch a breeze from a distance, man. And gone in a pants for your 6 pants.
While in studio now, I'm not in charge of studio. Producer and the engineer is in charge of studio, so And I like that because I have to trust their judgment. Their job is to make sure I'm doing the right thing and sounding the right way. And then I'm not really an artist that loves to be in studio, truth be told. I love to be on stage. My favorite part of music is being on stage and performing.
Me get up, check every time I track a bounce from your neck. Plus me get a nod and a bounce from your neck. And a how she go knows when she bounce from me. She have a thousand with all for the road. And I see no sun, no sun for the phone. And it for me. We full of ganja talk. Come in from me ganja walk, oh yes indeed.
But at the same time, it's there in the person that says, okay, do that again. Alright, sing that over this way, try to get that. Whereas on stage, I'm like just free to just be. It's a process, and this album also was the first time I was working with Winter. We did Resist Not Evil to kind of get to know, get to know each other in studio. And when you work with a producer a lot, then it's at the point where it's at now where we have a good chemistry and kind of know when to push and when to lay off, Experience writing these songs definitely vary. Most of them are new, like post my second album, but this album is very personal. Like all the songs are very personal. There's so much I'm sharing on this album that usually I wouldn't, because doing reggae music, or what people like to call positive music, and Rastafari music, there's certain things that you don't traditionally speak about or say or express. But for me, I just felt like before I'm a Rasta man, I'm a man, I'm a you know what I mean? Like, man of this world. And there are certain things that I go through that I feel like I wanted to let people know that, hey, like, I go through this and I'm not perfect and I make my mistakes, and here are some things that I feel that maybe I shouldn't feel, but I do feel them.
With Spain, Barcelona, we'll follow Laura go, our herb club, where she have partner. And she'll go hook we up even though we're not members, but we play reggae music, so what else?
There's so much music that I wrote for this album on the road. Just being on my tour bus looking out through the window, like I'm so creative when I travel. That's why I want to spend a lot of time on the road. Ones may think that your productivity may drop on the road, but for me it really increases because I get so much time to myself. There's no phones ringing, and you get a perspective. You wake up in Portugal, you go to bed in France. Your mind just racing about possibilities of life and people, and then you get in the energy from people when you go to your show. So sometimes I go back to my hotel room, lock my door, put on some instrumentals and just express. You know what I mean? I wrote the introduction for my album. I just was sleeping on the bunk on the bed, woke up 4 o'clock, went to the front of the bus, everybody was sleeping, just was looking out the window and it just came to me on spot. I just shot it off on spot. See, I give them one of the old time Bob Marley them Michael Rose pants them, you see it? With the gun mount. Yeah. Definitely on this album talking to myself. Really giving word sound to the thoughts that I've been thinking about, just so I can hear them. You know what I mean? Like the first line on this album that I say is bread basket from birth to the casket. I've heard they've been talking some words, I look past it. It's like I'm really trying to talk to myself, and that's the main thing I did this album for. Sonically, I know whoever likes the roots and the heavy drum and bass is going to like the sounds on it. But definitely, I talk to myself, and I feel like there's a lot of... Listen, I think people all around go through the same things in life. The person that have the job, have the 9 to 5, and me, we're going through the same things spiritually. The same things happening to each other, and I just feel like instead of looking at somebody and saying, hey, this is what you need to do because you have to know that this is what life is about. And my approach was to talk to myself and use myself as the example and then let people connect with me through that. So it's not as much social commentary and stuff like that. I'm trying to make the difference by making a difference to myself first. And there's a line on it where I say, yes, I've seen empires fall and crumble down to dust, and all the money in the world it could not lift them up. Most brilliant of ornaments crumble down to rust, because we put faith in lust and disregard the trust. Hell, I know the rush. I've had the feeling take me over. The power in my hand when all the band over my shoulder. Like me I say, yo, like even, you know, when they say righteous minds go through it, like I'm here trying to keep myself a certain way, but even I go through the evils too. And but they want to make people know that, you understand? So, and maybe when them hear me talking about what I going through, them can connect to it. So yeah, essentially this album is really a letter to myself, so I can hear it and improve as a man.